All right. Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world today. I am Davina, and I have a special guest on with me today. I have Benson Kandeh. So for those of you who do not know, I started a company called I Run the States, which creates 50 state scratch-off maps for people who have a goal or desire to run a race in every state. And I wanted a huge part of the proceeds for those map sales to go to something that I felt passionate about, something that helped to give back to humanity and really bless people in a way that I couldn't do any other way. And so I became acquainted with Benson in that search. And you guys are going to be so blessed just by meeting him and him explaining the work that he's doing to help provide safe and clean drinking water to people in Sierra Leone who need it the most. So Benson, how are you doing today?
I'm fine, Davina.
Yes, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me today and share a little bit about the work that you're doing. So let me back up and tell you guys a really quick story about how I became acquainted with Benson. And it probably was a year and a half ago. I was on a quest to learn more about my ancestral roots. And my husband bought me a test from African Ancestry. And that test did more than just tell you, yes, you're African, yes, you're Swedish, yes, you're English. It really pinpointed the ethnic groups in Africa that you genetically match with. Like, it put you in touch with who you are. And so when I got my results back, I matched to the Mende ethnicity group in Sierra Leone, West Africa. And so, of course, I wanted to find out everything I could about the Mende people, everything I could about Sierra Leone. And so I joined a Facebook group that composed of people here in the States and individuals in Africa that shared the same cultural background and identity. And that's where I met Benson. In that group, I saw him post things that really spoke to my heart and my spirit, which was the work he was doing in Sierra Leone to provide safe and clean drinking water to the people there. And so I knew I had to connect with him and get to know him a little better. So Benson, tell us, how did you get started in providing access to safe and clean drinking water to the people there?
Okay, thank you, Davina. I think this is a great opportunity for me to explain some of this important story because access to safe drinking water is a basic human right. It doesn't matter where you are or where you came from. Of course, I grew up in a rural community and where we had to walk a long distance to fetch water. And this has been part of my story since I grew up. I, my mom, and my younger sisters, we always walk a long distance. So having this at the back of my mind, I've always been thinking that how can we put an end to this? Or how can we make an effort to see that we contribute in putting an end to women, children, and even we, the rural setting people, walking a long distance to fetch water from an unprotected source. So what happened, of course, I traveled from the rural community setting. Then I was fortunate to have a scholarship to study in the city. So I came back to Freetown. There I started continuing my studies. Then I got a scholarship to do agriculture. And doing agriculture, I came across a friend from Denmark. And during that course, we had this dam system where in the water always have problem. So what they always ask, do we need someone? Is there someone who can go to the dam and fix this problem? I always make myself available. So that's what I was doing. I keep doing those things until I got an opportunity from him to go to South America, Bolivia, to learn this particular immerse technology. So that was where I was able to learn this particular technology. And when I came back, so I thought, oh, now it's time to give back to my people. And now it's time to be able to solve this problem. But me alone, I can't solve this problem except I have some people who have humanitarian heart in their particular possession who wants to help. So what I did, I came out, I visited some rural communities, mobilized community people, young people, explained to them my vision, explained to them how we can help ourselves without waiting on NGOs or government or international organizations. So what we do, I set up a team of young rural professionals where we came together, we visit a rural community, we sit down, explain, okay, we are going to provide the material, but you will have to provide the accommodation, the feeding, and the local materials. Okay, but how do we come about having those materials to support the rural community people? We do businesses, we do well for, yeah, I can say rich people or some other people that have money. So whenever we get that money, we put some aside for our project, then we use some for maintenance and our daily life, something like that. So whenever we want to visit a community, we use half of that fund to buy some materials and travel to a community to help them with access to safe drinking water. So this is what I have been doing with my team until I came in contact with Davina that is here, my sister, and someone who's really passionate about helping people in providing access to safe drinking water, because water is life. So that's
Right.
just my journey into the water system.
Yes, thank you so much for that. And I think it's important for people to really understand, because especially living here in the United States, we live a very privileged life, and we take something as simple as water for granted. And so I'm even guilty of that. And I remember at a space in my life where I felt like I was lacking something. And I knew that the part that was lacking was needing to connect to something stronger and deeper and give back to humanity. And I was talking to my husband, I'm like, I feel empty and I need something to help fill me up. And that's when I was trying to decide what path I need to take with my life. And I knew that I loved running. Like, I knew running was my passion. And I was trying to find a way to put my passion and my purpose together. And I remember clearly we were on a trip and I was going to a race, and we drove past a water facility place. And on the front of it, it said, "Water is life." And I remember you always say water is life. And I remember saying to my husband, oh my gosh, that's a sign. That is a sign. That's what I meant to do. I need to find a way to put running and water together, because Benson said water is life all the time. I'm going to a race and I see this big sign that says water is life. And that's really how I came up with the concept of combining running and allowing people who also feel passionate about giving back and being of service, an opportunity to do that through the purchase of the maps. But one thing you said that I want people to get really clear on is that even today in 2020, there are still millions of people who don't have access to clean drinking water. So what is the life like for those individuals? Like you said, you had to walk miles just for a water source. Like, explain a little bit what that is like.
Yeah, because like for rural communities, and according to Sierra Leone Ministry of Water Resources policy says that the government only caters for a population above 150. And there will have a lot of thousands of communities here in Sierra Leone, rural communities that are below that figure. And when you're below that figure, I can see you're not a priority to the government, because the government is always trying to look for communities that have more than that particular number. So we have people who have to walk a long distance, something like a kilometer or two, to fetch water on their head. And most of the people who are involved in that are the children, the women, where the men always sit at home, or they are always doing something else, where the women are walking a long distance, the children are walking a long distance to fetch this water. And one of the experience I came across a few months ago was a young lady was sent to the river to fetch water. Of course, the water was too troublesome at that particular time. So unfortunately, she missed her container, and the container, yeah, went away. So she tried to step into the water to fetch the water. Yeah, but there was no luck. That's how she lost her life. We are looking for her over 3 days. It was something like on the fourth day, they saw the body floating on the river. So when they get closer, it was a body of that particular girl they were looking for. So these were some of the things rural community people are suffering, they are going through. The women, the children, because they are always a victim. Because the older ones, they're always at home, they send the children to the river to fetch water. If you don't do it here, they are going to flag you, because we Africans, this is our culture, we respect our parents, we give respect to our elders. When they say go to the river and fetch water, you will go at once. So during that particular period, they even get raped. These are cases we've come across in some communities in Kenema, communities in Bo. So this is something that is seriously tormenting the life of the rural community people. Every 2 weeks or every month, children get missing. Every 2 weeks or month, people get missing. They die in the river, some get raped, all these things. Even the water they are fetching the source from is not secure, it's not safe. That's how they get themselves this diarrhea, cholera, all these things. Whenever there's an outbreak, those people living in the rural community are the ones who are highly involved, and most of these people love their lives. So this is how it is in Sierra Leone, in Africa as a whole. When you walk a long distance to fetch water, sometimes the men sit at home, the women go to the field, the women go to the river, the children go to the rivers to fetch water. And they take advantage of these children because there is no other means, there is no other way. They don't have access to safe drinking water in their communities. So they have to walk a long distance. So this is how life is like in Africa, especially in rural communities in Sierra Leone. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So the government's priority is for communities that have more than 150 individuals living there. So if you just happen to live in a smaller community, then you're not considered a priority. So they're not going to put the resources in place to make sure that you have clean and safe drinking water. And so what that means is that as a mother, I'm going to send my children to go to the river or to some other water source to bring water back for our basic functions. And then that water that we're getting may not even be clean or it's unprotected. Yeah. And so the only source we have could be polluted, which affects our health. And I was reading a statistic that said that, currently there's 1.8 billion people in the world that don't have access to it. And 80% of those are small children. So if the women are and the children are the ones that are going to fetch the water, how does that impact their ability to go to school and get educated?
Yeah, because like I'm saying this based on experience myself, because whenever you send a child to the river or to fetch water, by the time the children get back,
Nope, look like we lost Benson there. Look like
a lot of things as a result of them walking a long distance to fetch water every morning before going to school. So because of that, they end up dropping out of school. Because if you're always going to school late, missing classes, you keep repeating in one class, in one form. So you think, oh, I'm stupid. So I'm stupid. I think maybe I don't have a brain for going to school. Maybe I have to learn trade. Maybe I have to learn something else. But it's as a result of them missing classes every now and then, because every morning they have to walk a long distance to fetch water. They don't have time to sit down and study, because sometimes they have to fetch water 4-5 times a day.
Wow.
When they come from school, they don't even have something to eat. They have to go to the river to fetch water. So they don't even have time to study. They don't have time for themselves to do something personal or read their books, all these things. So it affects their education really. Most of them leave school because of that.
Yeah, and so we're saying it's just a water crisis, but really it touches every aspect of their life. Because if I'm a young female child walking to get water, I can't spend that time studying. And so then it becomes my belief that I'm stupid. I'm not meant for school. I'm not educated. And so it stops me from even moving forward to pursue a bigger and a better existence for myself. And so that's why it's so important. If you guys have just joined us, I'm talking to Benson Kandeh. He is my Mende brother from Sierra Leone, West Africa. And he's sharing his experience of what it's like to live in the rural community there and not have access to safe and clean drinking water. And he's made it his mission to significantly change that. And I invited you all on today so you could hear the story and join us in our mission to change that. Because I believe, just like Benson, that access to safe and clean drinking water is not and should not be a luxury. It should not just be for the rich and those who can afford it, but it's a basic human right that everybody should have access to. And so if you are just joining on, give me a hey, Davina, I hear you, say hello. And if you have any questions anytime during this broadcast, feel free to comment and we'll make sure that we get those answered. But so Benson, how can those people who are watching, who want to support you in this mission, like how can they do that?
Of course, we have our organization presently, the Eco Water Solution. And our aim or vision of this organization is to reach out to deprived rural communities, and with support from individuals or organizations like Iron State. Of course, you are one of our main donors, I can say now, and you are one of the main organization or contact person we are working with to make sure that access to safe drinking water is reached to deprived rural communities here in Sierra Leone. And based on our last project, of course, that particular system has created a lot of impact in the life of rural community people. Like the Tumbo community, they no longer walk a long distance. They always have water at their doorstep now from their house. They need to walk a long distance. Sometimes they will tell their children, hey, go to school. I will fetch the water for myself because it's closer to their place now. So I guess if anyone want to help, they can go through around the state and around the state know exactly how to support the work here and make sure that the work is done and life are being impacted and the output is out there and we'll be happy. I guess we can reach our goal because water is life so far.
Water is life. And that, I'm so happy to hear that. Because those of you who are just joining and may not know, myself, I run the states, and some very dedicated, committed runners like yourself contributed, and we did build our very first well in Sierra Leone, and it was in the Tumbo community, and that's the community that Benson was just talking about. And the thing that he just mentioned that touched me the most was that those people in that community now just have to walk out their front door to get access to clean drinking water. That means by contributing to I Run the States or other organizations that's helping fund the building of wells in Sierra Leone through Benson and his organization are impacting not just the health of women, children, and men in that community, but the education of the children there. And when you educate the children, you change the community because those are our future leaders of tomorrow. It doesn't matter where you are in the world, and sometimes we think that we're small and significant, and how can I make a difference to someone in Africa? But you really can, and it's really this small. We think that we have to save the world by doing something so grand and so significant, but it really just making a decision to take one small step to doing something different that's going to serve someone other than yourself. And that's how you change the world. And that's what Benson is doing in Sierra Leone. And that is what I wanted you guys to hear, because I know a lot of times when you choose to support an organization, you always wonder, are they really doing what they say? Are they just keeping the money? I don't know if I can trust them. And I wanted you guys to put a face and a name together, because Benson has blessed me in so many ways, not just by being the vehicle that's allowing me to help serve the people in Sierra Leone, but also educating me about the culture, about the people. And I just wanted to let you know, Benson, that I'm so happy and so blessed to have met you. And I'm so inspired by the work that you are doing in Sierra Leone. So thank you so much for blessing me in this way. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And I have another question for you.
Okay.
So as a young child or a young mother in the rural communities, a lot of times people will say, well, why don't they just leave? If you don't have water there, just move and go someplace else. Can you answer that question? Like, why do people just not relocate to another location?
Okay. Yeah, of course, the idea of people relocating sometimes does not still solve the problem, because access to safe drinking water or people not having access to safe drinking water is a problem here in Sierra Leone. Maybe you don't have to say, okay, let me relocate to that community. I can have access to safe drinking water. No. I was born in this community, and here I do my farming. I give birth to my children in this community. So why do I have to leave my community to another community to settle while they are still going through the same problem? Because these are our communities that are still below that figure. And there are still communities that are even above 150, but yet still access to safe drinking water is a challenge. So if you have a problem, and we as Africans are human, our mentality is if there's a problem, we should look for a way or a solution to solve that particular problem rather than running away from the problem. Because if we run away from that problem, this is something that's going to affect us tomorrow again. So when there's a problem, we pray and see how we can solve that problem. So when we solve that problem, that will serve as a story or as a result to others out there. So people do tend to move away from their communities because they have a lot of history attached to that particular community. They have a lot of things that is holding them back to that community. So I don't have to relocate because of access to drinking water. But we all are hoping that someday there will be a help or a way we can solve this particular problem. So our children will succeed and our children will benefit from whatever solution that comes. That access to safe drinking water is a right and it's something our children need and it's something we need and something the generation also need. Yeah.
You said something in that really like gave me goosebumps. You said the belief is if there is a problem, we come together and solve them. We don't try to run away from the problem because the problem is going to be there, not just for ourselves, but also for our children down the line. That, like, you gave me goosebumps when you said that, because a lot of times when we face a problem, we try to avoid it. We don't want to deal with it. We try to hide and act like it doesn't exist, or we say, hey, someone else can solve that problem. But I love the fact that the mindset of the community is like, hey, this is our problem. We're not going to run to another place because we have to figure out collectively how we can come together to solve the problem. And that's what my focus and my teams at I Run the State is. Like, we recognize that there's a problem globally with access to safe and clean drinking water. And we could say, hey, let somebody else deal with that. Let somebody else solve it. But we know that each one of us can play a role in making the lives of someone else, even someone we may not know, 10 times better. And that would not only affect them, but their children and their children's children and their children's children. And that's how we change the world. I love that.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to the safe drinking water, is there a bigger problem with sanitation as well? Because if they're lacking access to drinking water, I'm assuming that there may be access or lack of access for basic sanitation, such as hand washing and things of that nature, especially now that we're all facing kind of the corona pandemic.
Yeah, sometimes when you talk about access to safe drinking water, it goes along with sanitation. And most of these communities we are talking about, they are practicing open defecation because our people have this mentality that having a toilet at your place is very expensive. This is a mentality of we Africans, especially those living in the rural community. You can see someone, even in the capital city, he can build a very big mansion, but to put a toilet, they will think, oh, this is very expensive, I have to wait. And the law says before ever you build a house, you must first build a toilet because those who will be going there to work for you, they have to use a particular toilet or wherever. When rural community people now, they are used to open defecation because they don't have these facilities because of sometimes the topography or the nature of their soil, and sometimes they tend to go to the bush. So even if they have an open hand dog well, whenever there is a rain, that is where they have this E. coli in their water. And when you have an E. coli in your water, it has to affect your system. And when it affects your system, you become sick. And that's where you get this cholera, diarrhea, all the time people dying because they are practicing open defecation. So what we do whenever we go to supply a well or we go to help them with a well, we sensitize them about open defecation, that this is wrong. If you continue doing open defecation, that means you are drinking for your own waste. Because if you move 2 or 3 meters away from your house and do an open defecation, when it rains, everything has to come back into that water. Even if you do it outside when you are eating, you have these flies around. So when they go and sit on that particular remain, they also bring it back at your home, they put it on the food and you eat. That means you are eating the same thing you are giving out. So this is something that is affecting rural community also. So when we are talking about safe drinking water, we always think about sanitation aspect as well, because it goes in line with safe drinking water. Not only access to water, but access to safe drinking water. And even water must be safe, there should be a toilet system and there should be a safe drink, there should be a water system also. But if you don't have a community, don't have a toilet, then you're going to give them a well. That means, okay, they have access to water, but yes, still, it's not safe because they are practicing open defecation. So first target it when we go, because if there is no fund to do a toilet and to do a well, or the community don't have a toilet, we educate them on open defecation, that this is wrong, and tell them another knowledge, another idea which they can practice that is helpful to them, that will make their water source more safer than doing an open defecation. Sometimes we educate them in CLTS and also tell them exactly some of the practices they need to adhere to, some of the things they need to stop, and some of the things they need to practice. so that they will have a very good access to safe drinking water, and that will be helpful to their system.
Right. So it seems like education is a big part of what you do,
Yeah.
because we all know that before someone will change what they do, you have to first change what they think.
Indeed.
So you going in and you're educating them about being more sanitized when it comes to defecating, and how what you're doing is impacting the safety of your water, even if you have a well. And so that's another component that I really, really appreciate about what you do, is you're just not going out and say, hey, here's your well, hey, here's a toilet, but you're educating. And by educating, you're giving them information to help them make better informed decisions that then they can then pass down to their children, and their children's children. So again, it goes back to what you're saying about, hey, let's collectively solve our problems, not just run away and hide from them, but how can we solve this so it not only helps us, but generations down the line. So thank you again for that. And we have some people on, so let me stop for a minute and say hello. I have Candace on, Edson, hello. Alexandria, thank you so much for supporting I Run the State. I know she purchased one of her maps. So thank you so much. And the people of the Tone Bay community, thank you, because you helped us build that well. So thank you so much, Alexandria. Appreciate you all for joining in. And of course, Darian, I see you there. So if you guys have any questions for either myself or Benson, you can go ahead and type them below. We'll make sure we answer them. So I just want to ask you again, Benson, about the process of when you select a community. Is there a particular plan? Like, how do you select which community or village that would be the recipient of a well?
Here, of course, sometimes when we go, we have to visit few communities, at least communities. And after visiting those communities, first we have to look at the number of population. And first we have to look at some facilities in all those communities. Then we have to measure the constraint in terms of water and sanitation. And from there, we all have to sit down and come together. Community A, B, C, and D. Okay, here is a well for a community in this particular district. But you all know that, okay, all of you don't have access to safe drinking water. But at least you only walk something like 1 minute to get the water. But community C have to walk a long distance to fetch water. So I think, what do you suggest? Would you all suggest we give it to community B because of the distance they have to walk? And most of these communities, sometimes, even the schools the children are attending is far away from the community. Sometimes the community will be here and the school is something like 1 kilometer away from the school. The children will have to walk a long distance after fetching water. They also have to walk a long distance to go to that particular school. So we look at the community, the population level, we look at the constraints, and based on the suggestion of all the communities, then we decide to give that particular well to the community that is desperately in need, and which the impact will be more greater. Yeah, while we still look for other possible ways to reach the other communities. So that's how we reach most of these communities as well.
Okay, so who's responsible for the maintenance of the wells? So you put the well in, and say there's upkeep. Are the villagers trained in upkeeping and maintenance of the well?
And of course, this is one of the major problems we are having all over the world. This is not only about Africa now. Sustainability and maintenance culture. And the government have done over 5,000 or 6,000 wells within their map tools, other foreign pump systems. But based on last year, the survey we did, because I was also part of the team that the government sent, because I want to learn more about the water system in Sierra Leone. So out of 100%, even the ones that are currently functioning are not even up to 10%. All these wells are no longer working. But when you watch on the scale of the government or the report of the government, they will say, oh, we have over 5,000 wells, we have over 3,000 wells. But the question is, are those wells functional? No, because the maintenance culture is a problem. When the pump breaks, the people have to send for someone in Freetown to go to their village to maintenance the well. Then that costs money. And the part also is very expensive. So if the people continue paying 10,000, 50,000 for a part for over 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, they will tend to say, oh, I think it is better we go back to our normal system of fetching water, walking a long distance, and paying money every now and then. Yes, the problem is not solved. But what we do, we go to a community first. They identify key people, young people. And these are people who are always within the community, don't leave the community for a long time. We train them how to do our pump system, how to do maintenance, and how they can train others in case they will be leaving the community to another community. There will always be people in that particular community who will be doing this maintenance so that sustainability will be guaranteed. And not only that, we also train them how to build our pump system, because our pump system are just local materials. We use local materials to build a pump. The pistons, the foot valve are made with PVC pipes, marbles, rubber seal, all these things. So this one can find within their community. So we always train them. And not only that, every month we do a random check. I always take my time. I visit all those communities to know the pumps are in good working order and the people who are maintaining the well and make sure everything is okay. So that's how we operate with the rural community people.
Okay, good. So again, the education component always seems to come back. So, and for you, it's not just about building a well, leaving it and washing your hands of it and it's all done. It's like you go out and you double check and you make sure that the wells remain in good working order so the people can continue to use them, because for them, maintenance can be expensive. So if the wells fail and they don't work properly, then people could go back to their of walking miles to fetch water, which then puts we're back to square one where the access is not there. Then you have the issue with sanitation again. So it's always key and important that maintenance and checkup and follow up. Yeah. Good. I appreciate you coming on and talking to us. We've kind of hit our 30-minute mark, but I thought it was really important for those of you who have followed myself or I Run the States to understand that what it is that we're doing is not about selling maps. It's not about even keeping track of the runs in the states that you've been in. It serves a higher purpose. And what we do is help provide safe and clean drinking water to the people who need it the most. That is what we do. The vehicle that we use to do that is the map. And so I invite all of you who have a deeper desire, something deep inside of you that knows that you're meant to do more and give more and be more, and you're just searching for that thing, to come along with us on this journey. Because like Benson said, water is life. And it is, to me, crazy that in 2020, we still have billions of people around the world who have to walk 3, 4, 5 miles multiple times a day just to get a cup of water that's not even safe or clean to drink. And we all can play a role in fixing that. Every single one of us can. And so I'm going to invite and share with you 2 ways that you can help support I Run the States as we support Benson and his mission to completely change the demographics and the percentage of people in Sierra Leone that are lacking access. So the first way that you can help contribute is what we've talked about already, which is our 50 state scratch off map. There is, like, I don't know if you guys can see, but there's one behind my head. So that is our 50 state scratch off map. That is our flagship product. We are running a 50% off special on that today. So you can use the code FB Live, FB Facebook Live, and those are available for you today. We do have a limited amount available. So if you want to join us on this mission, and understand that it's not about the map, it's about the mission, then you can run over to irunthestates.com and you can get your map there. And you don't have to be a runner. You could be a walker and pick up your map. Your map is shipped in this nice, cool little tube here. And once you unroll it and you start scratching, then it will manifest into something like what's behind me. Second thing I would like to introduce is something, I don't even think I told Benson about this, because I just spoke to my husband and I've been working on it behind the scenes for like 3 weeks, is because everyone is stuck at home and we cannot run, we cannot walk, we cannot get outside. I have launched a virtual run and it is Running for Unity. And I have a medal here that I'm using. I don't know if you guys can see me pretty closer. And it says running for unity, and it says kindness, love, and compassion. And so this is a virtual run medal. You can walk, run, bike ride, whatever you do. And the proceeds for this will go to Benson and his organizations to build wells in Sierra Leone. It's $15. So way cheaper than any virtual runs out there, because again, it's not about the run, it's not about the walk, it's about the mission, the purpose, to change lives of so many people, so that little girls and little boys in Sierra Leone, which may be 1,000 miles away from you, no longer have to walk miles to get drinking water, no longer have to have the thought that I'm not smart, I'm stupid, I shouldn't go to school. No longer have to be afraid to go outside and walk to get water because they're afraid that someone may take advantage of them. And no longer have to be afraid to get water because if they step too far into the river, they can get caught up in the stream and lose their life by just doing something that should be a basic human right and not a luxury, which is something as simple as a glass of water. So I invite you guys to join me and Benson on this journey to change the world one run at a time. IRunTheStates.com. I'm Davina, and I'm here with my friend Benson. So thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Benson, for taking time out of your day to share what you're doing in Sierra Leone. You have blessed so many people and have inspired so many people just by taking one step and one action about something that you feel passionate about. So you definitely are you represent what all of us would hope to do, which is not to be afraid to step into our purpose and to really live life on purpose. So thank you so much, Benson, for joining me today. Thank you so much. All right, guys, I'll talk to you soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.